you very much for coming tonight to February's open studio. And as a follow through to last week, I had a few people say, oh, they'd really like to know more about perspective in terms of, once you do start putting objects, because the January was really all about perspective in the landscape without necessarily man-made objects in there.
Mhm.
So I'm going to take you through a little bit of that. And it's not, it's really, well, I'll explain it when I open it up. But the reality of it is perspective is far more than just paper and pencil and drawing things using the rules of perspective. And that is the way most people are taught. And I'll be quite honest, that's the way I was taught. I was taught that when I was, I probably had some of it in high school. I had a fabulous high school teacher. She taught us a little bit about everything. Probably ran into it in college, but I don't really remember anyone focusing on understanding what perspective is. And that's what these two sessions really were all about, is understanding what perspective is, and it helps you to uh, uh, explore your own photographs. So you can look at your own photographs and you can figure out, okay, what is it I have to do rather than, okay, where's my, draw your horizon line, draw your point, your vanishing points and start doing that. Save that for another time. This is really to help you actually analyze what perspective is. So I'm going to go into that. But before I start, I just want to know, did anyone have any questions or topics they wanted me to hit upon with perspective up front? If not, you know how it goes. Unmute yourself and, just ask questions. But I've got a PowerPoint. So what I'll be doing is I'll be taking you through some, a variety of photographs and talking to you about how to analyze your photographs. So here we go. So what I've done is I've broken it into three different ways that you can group your photographs. And this is a really good exercise. Get a digitally, or actual real photographs if people still have them anymore. And try to decide, where do these photographs go in terms of where your eye view line is. And I spoke about it last time, that what that eye view line is, it's another word for the horizon. Horizon lines we do not always see when we're by the ocean and we have the ocean water and we have the sky. We can easily see a horizon line. But a lot of times you take photographs and the horizon line is not obvious because trees are in the way, buildings are in the way, any number of reasons. You'd never see that line. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is showing you ways that you can identify where the line is when you're not sure, and readily identify it by also looking at where you're standing. And that vantage point of the photographer helps you put yourself in space in that photograph. So there's two things you need to know. Where was the vantage point of the photographer? Where were they standing? And two, where was that eye view line? And that eye view line will tell you how much perspective you need to put in terms of where. I'm getting ahead of myself. Forget that. We'll just come to that. I think I'm over explaining at this point. It'll be better with the explanation by the photographs. So mid view line just basically means everyone can see my cursor, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So I've mid view line means that it falls here. We have this rectangular format and it falls somewhere towards the middle. Okay. A high eye view line means that it is above the middle and it's up higher. And a low one means that it is lower in the ground. It's pretty obvious. But these three examples, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the different images, and we're going to have a whole pile below, and we're going to slide them into the correct categories. Now, is there anybody who's watching this on a phone? Because this will be,
Yes.
Okay, it's going to be pretty small on a phone, okay?
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you're
okay.
No,
watching it
but
on
oh,
yeah, because you can always watch it, you're going to get the recording and you can always,
yeah.
watch it on a laptop or an iPad should be all right. A laptop's probably the best. I didn't think to actually tell people that. But
I meant to
anyway,
ask a question before you started. Maybe you'll
certainly.
address it. So
Yeah.
one of my biggest challenges is I take the reference photo, then I'm like, oh, the building's a little crooked,
Yep.
okay, or something, and then by virtue of straightening it, haven't I lost the kind of the sight line that I started with? Because, when you straighten
Mhm.
something, so I'm just curious. It looks like you did a good job with all your pictures,
Well, yeah,
photos.
but I think I did save one just for that because after we
Okay,
talk about these three things, what we're going to do is we're going to slide over and we're going to look at 2 and 3 point perspective. Okay.
okay, okay. I'll
So
wait.
that's an excellent question. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm just going to double check. If I click on this, can everyone see the large version of it?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. So what Lisa's talking about, sometimes we take photographs and these lines that we know are perpendicular to the ground, so they were right angles. It's a building, unless it's lousily built or really, really old. We're going to have perpendicular lines. We're going to have right angles. Okay, sometimes you take a photograph and it's like, ooh, they're a little bit wonky. What you want to do is you do want to crop it, and I'm not going to get into it here, but on your phones and on your whatever program you use for your photographs, there is a way that you can. There's a bar underneath the photographs. You can move it so that you can straighten it. This one here, these guys are all uh, on the same vertical plane because they're coming off of this path. So once I straighten one, the majority of them fall in line. Bear in mind, this is what I tend to do. I take the area that's closest to where I was standing and I straighten from there. Okay, this is a narrow area. It's only probably, 8 feet across or 10 feet across, something like that. If it was wider, first of all, can you tell where I was standing? I probably gave it away just then, but where was I standing when I took this one?
I think you were at the right edge of that path.
Correct, right here.
Yeah, yeah, in front of
Okay.
that vertical, that line that runs all the way through it. Yeah, on the right.
Yeah, this is it. So that's it. First thing you always want to do with a photograph is where was the photographer standing? You don't even have to take the photograph. You can find it. Okay. And the one way I can find this, I know this is a pergola setup and it was designed with a path where it's even all the way down. The spacing between these are probably relatively even, maybe not exactly. But see the way on this side here? All of them start to merge because when I was standing here taking a photograph, I did not get this sideways view into it. So I know I'm standing here because I can see sideways into the space between these vertical pillars that are holding up the trellis, well, the pergola, not a trellis. Does that make sense? Does anyone need that? I'm going to go over that a few times with pictures, but that's it. So if they start lining up close together, it means I am standing close. Now, if I was standing directly in front of this, I might not have seen any of these guys. They may have all lined right up behind there, and I wouldn't be able to actually even see these guys very close like this. Okay, so when you see the space over here, you're looking to the left. Okay, is there any other thing that made you think that I was standing here? Well, here. Okay, the road over here is merging this way. Okay, so with the road merging here, it would imply that if I'm looking this way, a road that is parallel to this is going to converge way back here. So even though that's a straight road, it actually is converging in the back. Now I'm standing here and I'm looking down. We've got that resolved. So let's think the next one. Okay, where do we think the eye view line is? Where do you think that falls?
I don't think you advanced it.
No, it's the same photograph.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, that's all right. We're
I
still
thought you
looking at
said the next one. Sorry.
Oh, okay. The next
Mhm.
question.
It,
Oh,
it,
okay.
it appears,
That's a-
it appears almost right down the middle um, of the horizon.
yeah,
In the back on the right-hand side, you see like a little more sidewalk that's going left and right.
right here and right here. Okay. We know it's somewhere in here. Okay. You don't need to know it exact, but you're right. It's right down the middle. It's right in here. And when we talk about eye view lines, we're talking about a horizontal line that covers the picture plane. Okay. It will go straight across, whether or not there's objects there or not. And the eye view line, and I showed you that last week, is always exactly where you're standing and you're looking straight ahead. Your head's not tipped up, your head not tipped up, you're looking straight ahead, and that the what you see straight off into the distance, that is where that eye view line is. Okay, so it's
Betsy,
somewhere here. Oh, pardon me. Yep,
I have a question
yep.
about the people in the photograph. So
Mhm.
I think you've said before that people's heads tend to be at the same level, even if they're further back.
Correct.
So is my head at the same level as their heads?
You mean if you were standing in here?
Well, I mean, like in terms of my eye line, is it
Oh,
around
oh,
around where their heads are?
that's an excellent question. Holy moly, I love it. Heads. I, I'm gonna, oh geez.
I mean, it kind of,
Logically thinking, I'm thinking it would be right, but no, because I'm writing that one down, heads at
I
level.
mean, not if you were up high looking down, I guess,
No, I think of
certainly,
it
but
like, yeah, think of it like this. The, the bodies get shorter.
right.
Okay. But the heads, and that's relative. This person's bending over, and I mean, you could
Yeah.
have like, a child in here that's obviously, not as tall as a person. You could have a tall person, a short person. So it's going to vary. But, to make it believable, yes, the heads usually wind up at the same height. This person's bent over, it is a little
Yeah.
bit different. Um, I do not believe it has to do anything with the where the horizon is, but what would happen is the height would change. So for instance, this head could be above the horizon line, and this is what you would do. Okay, now that I got my thinking cap on. So let's say the head's here. Let's say, your eye view line is like right about here. The line would go like that. Well, I'm not doing that straight of a line, but it would be a straight line going down. And don't get too caught up with it being exact. It's the idea is that they're relatively at the
Oh,
same height. What happens is they get shorter because see this road? At the same time the heads are getting on a line that's going down, the road is converging on an upward slant to reach that horizon line, the vanishing line on the eye view line, which means the height of this person is shorter because their feet are falling right on that line. So in that case, this one's a good example because it shows where that line is and see where that person starts off right here. This person starts off right here if we wanted to draw a horizontal line underneath where their feet are. Similar to what's happening over on this side, these posts are all the same height unless you had something that was, fun and funky and maybe it, went up and down for some reason. But we know that the height here, let's say if this is, 10 feet high here, this one's 10 feet high, that one's 10 feet high, that one's 10 feet high. They're all the same height in this case. They don't look it because of the same principle takes place, okay? The line is converging back here, okay, going back, and it's going on an angle because it's got to reach that vanishing point, which is right smack somewhere around here on your eye view line right here, and your line's going to come down to reach that same point. Now, an easy way to figure out where that point actually is just take something like this. This is obvious. Real obvious line here. Real obvious line. If you can find like the bottoms of this right here, we know that they're all in a line. You keep, this is where if you want to take out a photograph, a piece of tracing paper, or draw right on it, you just draw a diagonal line following the bottom of that right up to the right through. You come down and you do the bottom. This one's really easy because we can see this real dark line. You come all the way down. Whoops. Where the two intersect, that is where your vanishing point is. And the vanishing point, really important to remember this, vanishing point is always on the eye line / horizon line, always. So that's key to understanding the whole thing. So, and that goes along with any line that you converge. The line right here and the line right here, they're going to wind up crisscrossing, intersecting right on that horizon line also. This line right here. Okay, that line right there. Okay, they're all going to intersect at the same point. Now that varies based on what the structure is, but for this one, because this is even measurements, you know, the across is it's same measurement here. If this is, let's say, 10 feet here, it's 10 feet back there. It just doesn't look it because all those lines have gotten shorter because they're converging on that vanishing point. Now we're going to just talk a little bit about objects. Okay, we talked about the people, so the heads are going to do the same thing. They're going to go right down. They're going to intersect right here. Or so, it might not be right at that point because, well, that gets a little bit more complicated. There's multiple vanishing points on a horizon eye view line. Okay, so they may not be on the same exact point because they're not built in this structure, but they would still be on that eye view line right there. The bench follows that same rule. Okay, you've got your back line for the back of the bench. You've got your front line for the front closest to you leg. And this line would go back. That line would go back. And that becomes a vanishing point for this bench. May not be identical to this object here because that is built on a slightly different plane because this one comes out a little bit farther. But, you know, depending on how that bench is situated, it might be exactly in the same spot in between these two posts, and it may wind up being the same line. If you're not sure, you can just move it and put it there. Did that make sense with this?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Very good.
Good. And I chose this one because it was the most obvious. It's a complicated one, but it's the most obvious for
Yeah.
all those different points. Okay.
Yeah, it's very helpful. Thank you.
So that's somewhere roughly in this one's pretty much midline. It may not be exactly in the middle of our picture plane, but it's pretty close to it. So let's look at this one. This is a high eye view line. And we're going to be traveling all over doing this. Where was the last one? I can't even remember the picture anymore. Oh, that was in South Carolina. This one's over in Great Britain. Okay. We can really see perspective lines in this right off the bat. Look at this. The edge of this is, you know, a manicured garden that's planned in very specific shapes. Okay, we can see this line goes straight back. Okay, it ends right there. This line comes back. This line over here, because these are squares, okay? Perspective has changed the shape because we're looking at it from an angle. Okay, this line follows down And that goes back. And remember when I talked about where everything converges and they wind up crisscrossing and intersecting one another? They are all intersecting somewhere right around here, which coincidentally is the upper end of that path, and that is where that eye view line is. Okay?
Terrific.
Okay. Now, let's see. Now, if I got out a sheet of paper, let me just look at that. It might even be up a little bit higher than that. Okay, because it doesn't have to end at the end where we see the wall. It's an old Roman wall and it's all in shade. So it doesn't actually have to end right there. It could wind up ending up in there. And I'm kind of thinking it might end up a little bit higher. Okay, that's considered a high eye view line because what's happened here is the lines go upward into the picture plane and they wind up being at a higher level above the middle. And part of that has to do with, again, where do you think I'm standing when I'm doing this, taking this photograph?
The edge of that grass.
Okay, this here, where do you think? Somewhere around here?
Um,
What
in,
I'd
in, in
say.
in the border of the grass there, off the
Right.
square,
Yeah, right in
the
here.
bottom of the
And this
page.
is how you can tell. This line converges in on on an angle. This one's slightly angle. See that? That's, and if I was going to do a straight line, the straight line would bring me down right. Whoops. It's really hard trying to do a straight line with this cursor here. Somewhere right around here. Okay. A little bit more of an angle on this side than here. It's the same with the last one we looked at when we were looking at the pergola there. The one side was really almost directly in front. Well, the same thing happens here, only now I'm shifting a little bit closer to here than I am to here, because I wouldn't have this much of an angle if I was standing directly in front of it. It would be a straight line. Okay, now, again, this is a garden that's planned, so it's specifically laid out in a very grid pattern. So if you're looking at it from an aerial view down, it would be as if it was done on graph paper, very gridded in. So even this row of trees, okay, that row of trees is going to go out here. Now, it's not going to wind up on the same, it's not going to crisscross, but wherever that eye view line is up in here, this line is going to end on that. So that tells you that that's where that vanishing point is there, okay? The other thing you can do is look at this building here. Okay, that's a really huge greenhouse. This is one of the places when I took people painting in Great Britain, we went to Dufferin Gardens in Wales. And you look at a building. This is not the best example, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. I've got other ones. This angle right here, see the way that edge of the building is pointing down?
Yeah.
That means we're underneath it, and it's going this way down. Okay. If we were directly in front of that, it would be straight. It's on an angle. So that tells us that our eye view line is below the edge of this building right here. So there's a couple tips, and I'll give you one that's up close and a little bit better. Low one, it's just the reverse. What happens is, oops, where'd it go? There it is. My very messy backyard without snow, without like what was 12 inches of snow, which is compacted to 8 and it's hard as a rock. So anyway, here's low, okay? Low eye view line right here. A couple of tricks with the low eye view line is I can see inside the dinghy right here, okay? I can see the inside edge of it, okay? If I look over here, okay, I can see a little bit underneath this. Not as important. There's not, see these lines on the slats of the old kids playground swing? They're on an angle, okay, and they're pointing this way, okay? And look at this one. I cannot see the top of the where you would stand on the platform here. These guys are on an angle, so I wouldn't have been able to see them, but I can see inside this. So I know if I can see inside of something, I'm standing above it. But if I can't see the top of this platform, it means that my eye view line has to be in between these two things. I can see the top of the chair arm here. I can see the seat. I'm taller than it. I'm higher. I'm looking above it. Okay, can see that's too dark. But this is low. That's kind of obvious. And this would be your perspective thing is following. Look at that line goes down. This one doesn't tell us a heck of a lot because we're looking almost straight on it. And objects, when you look almost straight, I'm like almost standing right in front of it because I see no angles. The only angles I see is a little bit in here. Everything's pretty straight because I'm right about here. But I do see an angle here. So that shows me, look at that. If I came over, yeah, everything's going to fall right in here somewhere. Questions on the lower, because we're going to start looking at them. Going to pull up a picture. I'm going to see if it works like this. If it's too small, I'll wind up making them bigger. You tell me what works for you on your end. Okay, so if we looked at this one, would we say that it is mid, high, or low? And when you say what it is, say if there's a tip or a reason you think it is one of those three.
I would need it a little bigger if you can, please.
Mhm. I can do that. Okay. Okay, whoops. Okay, you can see the seats of the chairs. It's a little hard, but you can see a little bit of the seats of the chairs here. Okay.
I would say it's close, a little bit over the middle of the paper. Look, giving the edges of the window on the right-hand side.
Yep, right here. Good find there. That little angle right there. Okay. And we see the seats here, so we know if, let's say, if we said this is somewhere around the middle, we'd see very little of the seats. I know it's hard to see, but there it is right there. There's the seat, and we can see that seat, so we're above the seat. So it's probably somewhere right around here. The other thing you can do is, I'll tell you, if you live near, if you're doing this with brick buildings or shingled buildings, it's great because their lines will tell you. Don't these lines look like they're pointing down?
Yeah.
There's a point at which those lines, which it's hidden, there's a point at which those lines will be straight. And when they're horizontal, it means that that is where the eye view line is. But yeah, and it's roughly because when you start working, you just need to know where you are. Where do you think I'm standing when I took this?
On the other side of that rock wall in the
Well,
center.
yeah, I'm on the other side of this rock wall. Which way here? Good call, Mary Jane. Okay, so do you think I'm in the middle? Do you think I'm on this side, or do you think I'm on that side?
In the middle.
Middle?
Mhm.
Okay.
I
What's
think
the, yeah?
I think middle, like middle, a little bit to the middle right, I guess.
It would be a little bit to the middle left. The
Middle left
reason
or something.
why I can see this side of the building.
Mm.
If I was too far this way, I would not be able to see that side of the building.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So we decided this one's middle top. It could wind up being high, but it's not really high. So this guy could technically be somewhere in the middle.
Mm.
Okay, let's look at this one right here.
Mm.
Look at the lines in the buildings. Which direction are they pointing?
Down just a little.
Pointing down.
And so you're below that.
So this one goes down ever so slightly. This one goes up ever so slightly.
So
Where they
somewhere in
crisscross
between.
is somewhere around here.
Mm.
So it
So-
must be middle.
Yeah,
Middle.
it's pretty much middle. Look
Yeah.
at the edge of this. This is what you want to be looking at. You want to be looking at these, all these little lines right here.
Mm.
This is the one that would decide whether you're doing a 2-point perspective. I'm not going to get into that at the moment, but there you go. Okay, that's a definite middle. This middle right there. Okay, let's try. Gotta try
This is
something.
fun.
Let's try this guy.
Oh boy. Oh,
But that's
hi.
high. That's obviously
Hi.
high. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple things are happening here. We're looking down the tops of the plants. We're looking down in here. We can see this. Look at the way everything converges back here and it goes around. Now, I don't know, that could have gotten much narrower back there, that's for sure. Can you see where I'm standing is right about here? Because I can
Mm-hmm.
see the inside of that wall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it means I'm standing about here and I can see this wall very clearly. Okay, and this one really is just going to go back in here. Okay, you just follow those lines. The other thing you can do is, I know it's small, but see this roof here?
Mm-hmm.
And there's the
Yeah. Yeah.
awning.
It slopes down.
It
Yeah.
slopes down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if it was on my eye view line, it would be straight. It's pointing down, which means the eye view line has to be somewhere around this edge right there. So this guy is, where'd he go? Oh, yeah, there he is. So that guy's high. Okay, let's try this one.
That's high.
That's high.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not quite as high.
Not
As you
quite
would.
as
Exactly.
high.
Mm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But
Okay, it
still high.
doesn't feel quite like it's in the middle. It could be close. Now, this is the sort of thing, truthfully, if I was going to paint this one, I would probably make it higher than it is in the photograph. So
Oh,
it
okay.
felt
Yeah. Yeah.
like it was higher.
Yeah, that makes
Again,
sense.
you're going back. Where am I
Yeah.
standing?
The
Right.
left side of
To
the
the
path.
left.
Left, yeah, because look at, I can see inside all these guys right here. If I'm standing over here, I can't see inside of them. And also this edge right here is kind of straight, so I was probably standing right about there. I like that photograph a lot. That's a garden center. They
Yeah.
have
Mm.
cafes and the garden centers over in Great Britain. It's like really, what did I say? This one was,
They have champagne. Is that what you said?
no, they have cafes. They might sure serve you champagne.
My hearing. So sorry.
Actually, what would be very nice is you would probably spend more money
That's
if
true.
you're drinking champagne.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, what about this guy?
My
Where am I
guess is
standing
Hello?
and what
high.
do you think it is? Hi.
Is
Hello?
high. Look at the ooh, this is one that might fool you.
Yeah, I
But
think
the
it's,
angles angle up.
Well, it looks like low to me, but
it looks like low.
yeah, because you can
Okay,
see.
let me tell you what the tip is here.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
Mary Jane was on the right path. Okay, these lines are going up, but guess what? I can see the top of this. I can see the top of this. I can see the top of that. I can see the top of, I can see inside the pots. Remember?
Yeah.
If
Mm-hmm.
if it's low, horizon line, eye view line, you can see insides of things. Okay, so I can see inside these pots. It's way up here, You would have to converge these lines here and would probably be somewhere right up in this angle right here. But it is tricky because the photograph was taken looking down. But if remember the whole thing about finding where you're standing, I'm standing somewhere over here.
Mm-hmm.
But I took the camera and I pointed it down. If I was
Um,
standing in the garden and I just took it as if it's my view, without looking up or down, it would be above. It would be up here. I tilted the camera down. So you have to bear that in mind. And the key for that is I can see the tops. I can even see the top of the back of the little cute little duck. I can see inside the pot and I want to say coaster. That's not a coaster. Whatever it's called. And I can see the tops of the steps there. Okay. So this guy, they keep disappearing on me, is high. Okay. Oh, brother, I moved them all up, so mixed them all up. Okay, this is a good example of what your shingles can help you with in the edges of buildings. This line's coming down. Okay. Here's the edge of that. Well, you could do the edge of the
The
window box or
boxes.
the edge of this. I'm going to do the edge of this.
That's
And I
neat.
go up, and where the two of them intersect, it's going to be somewhere it's a little higher than you think. Okay, and all these lines are going to come down. The eye view line, see the way these two right here,
Hmm.
those look as though they're almost parallel to the edge of the photograph. If the any object on a building looks parallel to the edge of your photograph, it means
That's
that
their
that
line.
is your eye view line. Okay, so there it is
Mhm.
right there. And if I drew that over and I connected that and I did that, they'd all wind up intersecting. And I'm standing,
To the right
yep, to the right. And look, and of course, another reason why we know it's up a little higher is I can see inside the
or bath.
the bird bath.
Hmm. Cute.
Okay, I'm not going to worry about moving them because I have really no idea where they're going. It's a great idea. Okay,
Mhm.
there's something key in here that helps you think of the edges of the buildings. Buildings are a
Yes,
great way to
this line
practice if you're doing this. Pick
here
out building
below.
below. Because look, I can see underneath the roof here. In
Hmm.
order to see underneath the roof, I need to be below it, correct?
Yep.
Okay, the edge of this roof goes down. We can't see the whole bottom of the building, but we can make an assumption that if the building ends somewhere around here and goes back, and the land could actually go up and down, but either way, that part, we could just make up. But because this goes down, and because I can see underneath the roof, definitely a lower horizon eye view. I guess say both of them. Okay, this guy's tricky.
Ooh.
This one's probably the hardest one there. But once you see it, then it's easy. So let's
Well,
start with where am I
Bruce.
standing?
you're standing on the edge, the lower edge of the picture. You can
Correct.
see, you can see inside the buckets. So
Correct. Yep. And
Hmm.
do you think I'm standing on this side here or this side over here?
The right.
the right middle, I would say, kind of on the right.
I think it's left,
Yeah, look at the inside of
because
the
you
roof.
can see that right side of the roof.
'Cause see, I can see the inside of the
Hmm.
roof here. So
Hmm.
in order to see the inside of the roof, I have to be on this side to be able to look over and see.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
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 Yeah,
Yep.
it makes sense. And I'm serious. Get photographs, magazines, your own, whatever, and just look at them. I mean, your own, you know whether you're right or wrong, but okay. So I am standing somewhere over here. And is there anything at all that would help us tell where the eye view line is?
Top of the door frame and the under the apex of the roof, if that crossbar
Oh, yeah.
is correct, is horizontal. Um,
This looks like it's pretty horizontal right
Hmm.
there.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
it could be, you could also
trellis
look
thing.
at things on shelves. You can look at, remember where I said, oh, you can see on top, it's so small, and these guys are all so close together. Sometimes you can say, oh, I can't see on top of the actual um, surface of the shelf here, but maybe I can see the surface of the shelf there. But regardless, the point is when you're doing this, you have to stick with what it is. So if you say, you look at this is, I'm going to use this one right here as
Mm.
my eye view line, it means everything you do has to go to that eye view line. So the best thing to do in a case where it's complicated is choose one, get a piece of tracing paper, lay it down and tape it, and then just take straight edges and run over. And this is the other thing. This feels like it is very horizontal here, but part of me thinks it might be on a slight slope
Hmm.
down.
Yeah.
Okay. And if it's pointing down, okay, and up, it could potentially be a little lower. But long as you draw it all based on wherever, let's say you say, okay, I'm going to go with it right here. it means all the lines that you draw, the vanishing points are going to be on that line. Okay, you can't have some above and some below. They're all on that line. That was a tricky one.
No
That
kidding.
was somewhere near the middle-ish. Okay, let's see. We already did mine. That was high. Oh gosh, have we done no lows? Okay, let's see. Oh, well, look at here. This guy was low. Okay. Oh, here's one. Peggy,
Oh,
do you recognize this location? Mary Jane, have you been here? Oh, no,
No,
no, not Mary Jane. What about Marge? Have you been here? I think Marge might have been here. Plein air
It looks
painting.
familiar, but I can't think where it
yeah.
is.
It's a Katuitt. It's the Santuit Katuitt Historical Society.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Tiny little spot. Really nice if you're in Katuitt to go visit it. Okay. Where are the
This one
key?
here, Betsy, would you first straighten it? Because it looks like those, what do you call it, raised beds are going uphill, or is it really an uphill
Could be uphill.
lot?
And it may need to be straightened, but I would never straighten something based on this. What would you
Yeah,
base it on?
the building.
The
because then the
building.
house would be crooked.
the
The
vertical
building.
lines of the building.
It has to, yeah, if you're going to straighten anything, it's always got
Yeah.
to be a low building, not a real super high building, a low building. Okay. So this building here, I mean, it looks pretty straight to me. There's no guarantee in a garden that it's totally flat. So that part I'm not sure of. These look like they're straight. This guy on the side, see this right here? That's skewed because it's on the edge. I would always take a building that was closer to see. Remember what I said in the other one? You base your lines on
What's
where
it
you're
right here?
standing. This guy's way over to my left. The camera, depending on what angle you've got it open to, does start to bring buildings in or out, depending on, how you've opened it up. Suggestion, when you're taking a photograph, even if you want, take any photographs you want, and then you're taking it for perspective purposes, look through the viewfinder and make sure what you're looking at in the viewfinder is the same proportions as what you're seeing in real life and the same angles. So if this is what I would use right here. I'm standing somewhere here because guess what? I cannot see the edges of the inside of these planters right here. I can see the edge here. These guys are almost well, they are in a straight line right through here. Okay, which means I'm standing here. The edge of this building is the one that I would base everything on. Okay, and if that needs to get straightened, the roof is slanting down a little bit. Very possible it's slightly crooked, but always do it from wherever you were standing. High, or what do we think it is? High? Way up here. Okay, we take this, we go back, we take
Mhm.
this, we go back. They're going to intersect here. I can see a little bit at the top of the seat here. See that seat right there?
Mhm.
Okay. So I know it's somewhere, this building, this is not telling me anything because I'm right in front of it. I see no angles. The building's not helping because I see no angle. I don't even hardly see the side of this building. So you have to base it on this right here. You just, whatever base it on, you just stick with that. Good question on so that one was low, that one was high. Okay, let's just do one more and then we'll go to, okay. This one, this one, I don't know how many times I looked at it. This is a nice segue into the next section. Okay, higher,
Not
lower,
quite.
middle.
Eek.
One thing that's happening is we are dead in front of this building.
Mm-hmm.
We can see the way I can only see about this much of this side.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the whole of this, and then I see a little bit more of this side. Remember what I said, makes sense, means I'm standing closer on this side because I can see more of this side of that funky part of the building that sticks out. I can't see as much of this side as
Hmm.
small as it is. The other thing that tells me where it is the building that's next to it. I can see the side of it right there. I see no sides of this building at all. And I can see a little bit of the side of this building, which means I've got to be somewhere right in this vicinity right here to be able to see the side of that and the side of this. It's actually perspective is really, this is the best way to start with it. You know, like I said, understand it. Looking down, okay, through this, okay, I'm seeing into this, I'm seeing this. And this goes with what happened last week when we were talking about as shapes go off in the distance, they start to flatten out.
Now.
Okay, the curve here, I'm seeing quite a bit of a curve in here. The curve starts to flatten out, and then we don't even see the curves that are back there.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Betsy, is
this
that
one's,
a doorway in the center of that building?
yep, right here.
To me, your eye sign, eye,
Eye
eye
line.
line
Mm-hmm.
is the somewhere about a little bit above the top of that door. It has got almost a platform that goes straight.
Okay. Yeah, it could be. This is one of the ways that you can do it. See this line over here? I would just extend that right out and I would cross it over here. Okay. I'd say, oh, is there anything else that shows me an angle? Is there
Oh,
anything else on an angle? Look for another angle. Oh, there's an
that
angle right here.
roof.
Look at this. I can see a little edge of this one right here. See, I can see the side of this little thing. I'm going to come over and see the top there. I'm going to bring that over and where the side of that intersects with the side of that is somewhere right around there. Wouldn't be totally accurate because these guys are not exactly on the same plane. This is built out, but it's still going to give you a rough idea where it is. So it could be that high. Could be. And the reason we're saying it's that high, but if I look over here, I can't see the tops. I have to get close here. I can't see the tops of this. I can see, I don't know if that's really the top back there. Oh, I can see the top of the that
Hmm.
right there. So you're always looking. If I can look down on something, it means I'm taller than it, which means my eye view line slash horizon. I'm going to use both, not to confuse things. But we have no help from the building because we're looking almost dead on at
Right
it.
on it.
The only help is the little bits we see on the side. That was a complicated one. Now, this one is lower and we're looking up. Now, we're also looking up, and what happens, and this goes back to Lisa's question about lines converging. When you have tall buildings, you have to base everything that's on closer to where your height, where you're seeing, because we wind up with, and we're going to go right over here. Gonna move this guy over. Whoops. Sorry about that. A little jiggling around. Go like that.
Aha,
3-point
that one.
perspective.
So you have the traditional, it's called the parallax effect, right? When you're looking upward, like software now has a feature in it that allows people to like straighten that building when it starts to narrow. I mean, that's not a super tall building, but it's a real problem if it's like a skyscraper because you tilt the camera up and then the building goes tilts upward too. It's called parallax. You probably know that.
No, I didn't know that word, so thank you. The basics of 3-point, which is more complicated, is that you do have a building that as it goes upwards, it does tend to converge
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Okay? And the
That's
reason for
parallax. Yep, you
that
got it.
is because it's high. And that's why on our lower buildings, it doesn't work because that's only what, maybe a 3-story building at most. We're not going to see that height. And going back to what Lisa said, the skyscrapers go up. And if we had them parallel all the way up to the sides of the paper, it wouldn't make sense because we wouldn't feel like it's disappearing up into the sky, which is what we feel like when we look at really tall buildings. Living where we do here, we don't have a heck of a lot of tall buildings, but there are some that you would be able to get some decent photographs of. to actually notice. And what you're doing when you're looking at 1 and 2 point perspective is this. Okay, let's establish where I'm standing.
Oh,
At the grass line to the left of the path.
to the right.
What's the key that tells us I'm to the right?
That the side of the building?
We can see the side of the building. Okay. If I was to the left, I wouldn't be able to see that side of the building. So I'm somewhere over here. These lines are going in here. Okay. I'm seeing this right here. I'm seeing very tiny, so negligible there, it probably wouldn't even count. It would be hard to see the side of that. So with a 2 point perspective, what we're doing, you're always taking the edge of the building that's closest to you. This building's on an angle. Remember the last one we saw? We were dead in front of us and it had all those horizontal lines because we're dead in front of it. 2 point perspective is when you are not exactly in front of a building and you can see a side wall. Okay. And this is the most important line because this is the one that tells you that is the line of the building, the edge of the building that is closest to you. And you base everything when you do 2 point perspective, besides finding your eye view line slash horizon, this is the next most important one. And it is always an indication of where you are standing right around here. Okay, and then when I do my lines, here's straight down. My horizon line would be, let's look here. We've got the edge of the building here, here, over here. These may not be very helpful. So this is the way I would start. This slopes up. These old buildings are like a death trap of trying to do it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the side of the building and see if I can see anything at all that's pointing down. And see this line right
Mm-hmm.
there?
Mm-hmm.
See this edge right there? I'm going to take the edge of that. I'm going to come out. I'm going to take the edge of this. I'm going to come out. And where the two of them intersect is where I'm going to have my eye view slash horizon line. And that is the vanishing point for this building. And that gives you that edge. And these are far more complex, these old buildings, because they didn't really follow um, building regulations. So I think even part of that building has part of a roof over it on this side. You can see this coming in. So like I said, it's your eye view line and this. Sometimes, depending on what angle these guys are on, see, I can see a little bit of that skirting around there. It would be somewhere right around here. And then I would draw this down. And again, it doesn't have to be accurate. You just need to stick with whatever line you're putting down and commit to it. So this one's slightly on the lower end. And then your roof is going to do the same thing. Now these guys are parallel. They're going to slightly converge, but it's this line right up here for the top of the roof. That's going to come down and it's going to go there. And this is all the same building on here, so they would all go to the same line. This building, if we could see anything of it, that would probably go to a different vanishing point because it's a different building, not on the same plane. It's set back a little farther. I love that. I sketched that building. I haven't painted it yet, though. Okay, so we're going to go back to this guy. That's 2 point perspective. 3 point perspective. What's the edge that's closest of this building? This one right here. We can see it's the
That front
edge of the
one.
building that's the closest to us. This is going away that way. That's going away that way. And here's our edges right here. This one's pretty clear. Straight down. Whoosh, off it goes. Straight down. Off it goes. Look at these. Look at the way those guys are on a
Oh, yeah.
slant. Okay, they're going to go down. This guy, I see more of this side, so it's not going to be as much of a slant, but there is still a little bit of a slant, but I don't need this side. I can start with this side here. Okay, down, down, they intersect. Doesn't matter, I can't see this whole side of the building. All you need is one of them, those 2 points intersect. That tells you that's where the eye view horizon line is, right around there. Now, 3 point perspective, heights. means that you have a vanishing point up in the sky. Okay, so you would go up and follow. See the way that's starting to tilt in? This guy here is pretty straight. Don't do this in here. That follows something different. We're just doing the facade of the building, not the facade, the basic shape of the building. That comes up, goes straight up. And where those two lines, and I always throw the middle one in just to be on the safe side, where they all intersect, that is your point up in the um, atmosphere, up in the sky. And that is where, if it was a 5-story, 10-story, 15, 50-story building, it would all follow that pattern, provided that the building didn't have any additional build outs on the side. Okay. And anything else on this one? Oh, bridges, they're fun. But 3-point perspective, basic thing is you have to suspend the fact that it's not necessarily, and it can slightly in here, slightly less on this. I may play around with the angling that, because in a 3-point perspective, this is the line that I would want to be parallel to the edge of the paper, because that is the edge of the building that's closest to me. Okay, if I was going to walk out there, this is the edge I would touch first, and those are going away. A lot of information. So,
Hmm.
oh, and I had a ton of photographs here. Clearly, we didn't do them all, but questions on that? Anything you want to, is there, like this one here I pulled up? This one doesn't have a lot. This one's tricky. There's not a lot of information in there. There's just enough to tell you where the eye view line is, where you're standing and where the eye view line is. What would you do with that one? You can make it up.
You could
As
use,
long as, you commit to wherever you put that horizon line, eye view line. And Marge, what were you going to say?
gonna say use the edges of the sidewalk.
Yes, you could use the edges of the sidewalk. Okay. These old walls, you never know, were they all the same height? But look at, this guy is going down. Okay. This is also going downhill, so that also changes the way it feels. Okay. This here, this is a wall. Could the wall be different heights? It's not like it's a building. It's a wall that goes down. See, the height of it here is like that. The height of it there is shorter, so it's going down. That's going down. It, like,
Hmm.
again, when you have something that's a little bit nebulous, it's like, oh, it could be this, it could be that. Pick it, choose it, and stick with it. And it just means everything goes off of it, and you have to adjust. And that's the point. The photo is only a jumping off point. So if it doesn't match up with the photograph, no big deal. You want to make it feel like it's a bigger slope, drop it even more. You want to make it feel like it's flat, bring it up to the middle. Let's see. Let's just do this one. I'm just going to do 2 more because they're a little on the trickier side. What are you doing in this one?
Definitely looking down.
Definitely looking down. Again, another looking down one. Think of that garden when we were looking at the ducks on the slate slabs there. Okay, looking down. Okay, I want to stand up now and look straight out. Okay, it's high.
Hmm.
Okay, because
There's a
look at
roof
everything we're,
line. There's a roof line on the left, or it looks like a roof.
could
Um,
be. Could be. I think there's another bridge back there, but there could be. Looks like, yeah, could be. But yes, you're looking. So the idea is you entrench, and when you're doing something like this, you write immediately in your sketchbook, looking down. So you really create that sense of looking down. So that's a low one. And then there's just one more that's really, oh, this one. What's the key here to tell if it's a high or low?
Well, you can see the under
The
part.
top.
Hmm.
Correct. Yeah, you can see the under part of this. We can look right up to it. If you can see underneath something, it means it's down lower. Okay, it cannot be high because if it was, you would not be able to see underneath it. Okay, good. And then we already did that one. Geez, where is that on? That's what I get for stacking everything. It's a that we know that we know that. Ah, bummer. We had a really nice building one. Where is it? Bummer. Oh, I don't
These are
know.
all nice photographs.
Yeah.
Oh, I thank you. I gotta choose one for the next I won't choose it. Oh, that's too bad. I don't know where it is. I had a really nice one. We were looking down and we could see definitely the under part of a roof line. And that was your key. Sometimes, truthfully, it is just the key. I can see underneath this building.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, cities, truthfully, are pretty great because there's so many lines from the lights and the structures of the building that you can find where your eye view line is and where vanishing points are pretty easy. Questions?
Hmm.
Anybody have any questions? Oh yeah, that one's nice. That's Balmaro. Any questions? Anything that as I look for that bummer. Oh, look at I can make them bigger. I didn't know I could do that. I gotta hit stop share. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Betsy. That was good.
Oops. Sorry. Oh, good. Well, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, got slightly distracted when the phone rang. So hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah.
Get some photographs out. Think of what we just did. Find out where you're standing when you took that photograph. Okay, base it on how much of edges and sides you can see of things, what's in straight lines. Find out where your eye view line is. Base that on what you're looking at. Can I see under something? Can I see on top of something? And I mean, truthfully, it could be as basic as that. If you can see on top of something, it's low. If you can see under something, it's high. Nope, other way around. Sorry about that. Um, and then middle ones play around with because an eye line horizon that's dead smack in the middle isn't really all that exciting. So some of those I would crop that are, plunked right in the middle. So the next page along, we're going to do something that's going to have a little bit of drawing in it. I won't pick anything that's too crazy. And, going along with, this kind of series of perspective. And I think I've mentioned it before. Fabulous book, takes it from the point of view of an artist and not a draftsman. So it gives you a lot of great examples of very artistic sorts of ways.
Can you hold it up again, the front?
Yep, it's the Urban Sketcher's Guide to
Oh,
Understanding Perspective. And it is. Look at that, isn't it? Okay, Dana. And it takes you through actually things that are very complicated in here too. But it's a great book. So
and
anyway.
who wrote it?
It's actually written by Stephanie Bauer, and the Urban Sketchers is a worldwide group of artists. There's actually one on Cape Cod. You plein air painters that don't know what to do in the winter, they are starting up again, and it's this Saturday from 10 to 12 at the Cultural Center of Cape Cod. All you have to do is bring a sketchbook and show up. Very nice. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks so much, everybody.
Bye.
Appreciate
Thanks.
you coming.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.